In this video, I'm going to show you how to deliver an insulin dose at a meal or snack time when the blood glucose is between 4 and 10 millimoles, and how this is different when the blood glucose is over 10 millimoles. Firstly, it's important to say that if the pupil is hypoglycemic, that is, having a blood glucose level below 4 millimoles, they should not be given insulin. Instead, treat the hypo as per their healthcare plan and then give insulin with their food once blood glucose is above 4 millimoles. On the Insight pump, insulin is delivered by a multi-wave. This means that a percentage of the insulin, usually around half, is delivered immediately, and the rest trickles in over an extended period of time. This helps absorption. The pump can usually stay tucked under clothing, and the dose can be delivered by the handset, providing the pupil is nearby. Here's how we do it. So to turn the machine on, we can just insert a strip. On the Insight pump, it does sometimes take a few seconds to come on. It will come up with a code 111 warning. We can ignore this and just wait for it to ask us to apply our sample. So I'm just going to use some fake blood, which should hopefully give us a reading within the target range. There we go. And following this, it will take us to a page where it wants us to tell it how much carbohydrate. So if we just select the carbohydrate option, and then we can use the plus button to increase this until we get to the amount that the child is eating. It will go up in 5s and then 10s if you hold your finger on it, but be as accurate as you can be. We then just need to go to where it says save. Occasionally, a parent may ask you to use the health events. In this section, we can tell the insulin pump that the child is planning to do some exercise, and that can knock 10 or 20% off the advised dose to prevent them from going low. It might be if they've got a bit of a cough or cold, parent wants us to add insulin on, so they might advise you to use the stress or the illness option, but you wouldn't normally be asked to do this. So once you've got the carbohydrate in there, you can just go to bolus. So it's just calculating now how much insulin it's going to want to give. Again, the Insight pumps do sometimes take a little while to calculate this. So because our blood glucose is 6.8, it's ever so slightly higher than it wants us to be, so it's going to advise us 0.25 units extra. For the 53 grams of carbs, it wants us to give 3.55. So it's rounded that to 3.8. And you can just see here where it says bolus type standard. If we just select that, we don't want to give this as a standard, we want to give it as a multi-wave, because that's a better way of delivering the insulin. So we click on multi-wave, and then we just go to save. So we can see now that where it says bolus type, it is changed to multi-wave. That's all you need to do on this screen. So just make sure the bolus type has gone from standard to multi-wave, and then please press next before pressing anything else. Now on this page, we can start to increase the amount we want delivering. Now we want it to give about half up front and half over a period of time. So where it says 0.25, as that one increases, you'll see that the delayed amount goes down. And usually we say that if these numbers are roughly similar, they're having about 50-50. So just go up and down until they about match. There we go. Now the set delayed duration on here is 15 minutes. It will normally remember this, so your pupil normally has it delivered over 2 hours. That should be preset at 2 hours. Then all you need to do is go to next. This is a final page where you can just make sure that you're happy with everything that it's advising. So it's going to deliver 3.8 units in total, 1.9 immediately, 1.9 over 2 hours, and we just press OK. The pupil will then hear a bit of a vibrate and a buzz from their pump, and they'll know that it's working. This works well when blood glucose levels are within or close to target, e.g. under 10 millimoles. But if blood glucose were elevated, the insulin pump will want to give some corrective insulin also. We don't want this extra insulin to go through as a multi-wave, if some of this will take up to 2 hours to trickle in, and blood glucose will also take a long time to reduce. Instead, we correct the high blood sugar with a corrective dose of insulin given all in one go. This is called a standard. And then we go back and put the food through afterwards as a multi-wave. Here's how we do it. Now when blood glucose levels are high, the process is slightly different because we want to deliver that corrective insulin, that bit that's being given for the high blood sugar, immediately, and then we can go back and tell it about the carbohydrate afterwards. So again, just wait for it to ask us to apply our sample. Again, I'm going to use some fake blood, and this should give us a particularly high reading actually. Now when the reading is over a certain level, it will flash up with a warning asking you to consider checking for ketones. Now ketones need to be checked if the blood glucose has been high for a few hours, or if the blood glucose level is high and the pupil isn't feeling very well. If you just press OK, it'll then move on to the next screen. So here we don't want to be putting any carbohydrates in at the moment. We just want to know how much insulin we're going to get advised for this high blood sugar. So we just go straight to bolus. And it's just going to take a second to calculate how much insulin we now need just for that high blood sugar. So for the high blood sugar of 27.5 millimoles, it wants to give us 5.9 units. We haven't told it about any carbohydrate yet. Where it says bolus type, we can see that it says standard. That's good. That's exactly what we want to do. So then we can just go to next. And again. So it's going to deliver a standard bolus, immediate amount of 5.9. We can just press OK. And again, the patient will hear a bit of a buzz and a vibrate, and that will start to go through. We now need to go back and tell it about the carbohydrates that the pupil plans to eat and deliver this over a couple of hours. So if we go to main menu and we're going to go to bolus. Now this takes us back to the page where we can input the carbohydrate. So again, put in the amount of carbohydrate that the pupil plans to eat and go to save. And then we can go to bolus. So it comes up with a warning to say we've not done a blood glucose test. We have, but we've sorted it out. So where it says test blood glucose, we're going to go no. And it's now going to calculate how much insulin it wants us to give. So for the carbohydrates, it wants us to give 2.35 units. Now again, the bolus type is coming up as a standard, and we must change this to multi-wave. And press save. And then again on this screen, all we're going to do is just check that this bolus type has changed to multi-wave. We don't need to do anything else, and then we go to next. So now it's asking us how much we want to give immediately and how much we want to do as delayed. As you can see, it's remembered that we're delivering it over 2 hours. So we're just going to go up with this button here. Oops. Until they match. Gone a bit too far. Sometimes you can't get it exact, just be as close as you can be and just go to next. So again, final page to make sure we're happy with what it's advising, and we can just press OK. If you have trouble getting the handset to connect to the pump, try these 2 things. Firstly, ensure the pupil is within 3 meters of the handset. Secondly, ensure there are no objects or people between the pump and the handset. This includes the wearer. If the device still fails to connect, contact the parents or the diabetes team. The handset is also designed to alarm to warn of issues or errors, and for safety reasons these cannot be switched off. Parents are responsible for ensuring that batteries are replaced regularly and that cartridges have enough insulin left to last the school day. If the pump alarms to alert you of a battery issue, contact parents in the first instance. Some pupils may be able to manage this themselves. If you're not able to contact parents, ring the diabetes team. Occasionally, the pump may alarm to alert you of an occlusion. This is a blockage in the tubing or cannula. Check the tubing isn't kinked and attempt to restart insulin delivery. If the pump alarms again, the cannula is going to need changing. Contact parents if the pupil is not able to do this. You may also need to disconnect the pump from the pupil from time to time, for example if they're swimming, playing contact sports, or if the child is having a severe hypo. This is how you disconnect. You can leave the pump running. Always remember to reattach the pump within 1 hour or the pupil can become unwell.